Boom. Okay, everyone, welcome to my marathon. Wow. Um, let's see. Facebook, um, you're 20 seconds late, and YouTube, you're right on time. Um, yeah, I always start with that boring comment. But anyway, nevertheless, we're on time today. We have been on time the past couple weeks, so that's good. The past few weeks have been great. I hope you had a great Sabbath day. Hopefully, church was awesome. Hopefully, all is well. Christmas season, right? Um, originally, um, so anyway, anyone who's probably gonna jump on anytime now, welcome to my live stream. Anyway, originally, um, in the first draft of the schedule, we were supposed to, um, be halfway done with the Queens of Darkness arc, but uh, you know, obviously there were some changes like switching Thanksgiving break with July, and then which didn't really change. I mean, it did change the schedule for a little while, but once we're past Thanksgiving, it didn't really change much. It would put the schedule back on track because we were going to skip Thanksgiving originally, and I decided not to. But I wanted to skip a Sunday in summer for a vacation. So anyway, we had that, and then despite trying to stay on schedule, I got sick one week, and then another week I had a date. So anyway, that pushed us back 2 weeks, which means we're just starting the Queens of Darkness arc, and we're not even halfway through it. And because we're just starting, we also have a special tonight that we got to watch. So, I sent you guys the link in a post. So hopefully you got the link. If not, I can send it in the chat. In fact, every time when we have a new season or a new arc, not a new season, this is the second half of season 4, so it's not new, but a new arc. Usually, I send the links in, and I don't send them until we're supposed to start the show. So, given the fact I always start 10 minutes early, I'm going to send them right about now. Let's see. Okay, hang on. I'm going to open another tab. Let's see here. Oh. Anyway, let's see here. Trying to figure out what I'm doing here. Okay, hang on. Sorry, I know you can't see my screen. I'm just trying to open a new Facebook tab. One that's not having my live stream sit on, and I don't want to mess up my live stream. So, I'm pulling up a separate tab to go through my post and see if I could find those links for you guys. Put them in the live chat. But yeah, welcome. We'll start the show right at 7. Hang on. Let's see if I could find the links. Oh, here they are. Control copy. Now there's 4 versions of this episode. It's not on Disney Plus or Hulu, but there's 4 versions of this episode, and you don't have an option to buy it. This is the coolest part, is you don't have an option to buy it. In the past, we've had specials that either you could buy it or watch it for free. You know, or you could only buy it, so therefore I without copyright, I gave you an audio version. So either you could only buy the episode or you could buy it and watch it for free. This one you can't buy at all. You could only watch it for free. I wish that could be the same for every special. But anyway, there's 4 ways to watch it for free. That's the cool part. No other Once Upon a Time special outside of the streaming services is going to be like this, where there's 4 ways to watch it for free. Usually there's 1 or 2 ways. So anyway, that's kind of funny. And that's not the best part. The best part is you can't even buy it if you wanted to. You can't waste your money on it even if you wanted to. So I know I just need to send one of those links, but I'm going to send you all 4 of them just to give you the agency of choice, because God gave us agency, right? Just again, Sabbath day, Sunday, I want to give you agency. The link, the episode's the same, and I looked on every single link. You know how sometimes some versions could be longer than others because either they have pauses in the middle of the episode that are long, like blackouts, or something like that. No, they're all the same length. 39 minutes and 30 seconds are all on all 4 of them, and it's the whole episode. So you will be in sync no matter which one you use. But make sure you have it ready for when we start. because we'll watch the special right at 7. Control copy. And okay. Sorry, I got distracted. I could have sent it to you by now, but I got distracted. Okay, let me put in the live chat. Control V. Let me put a space in between. Oh, shoot. That's not what I meant to do. Oh, whoops. Okay. Let's see. Let's try this again. Just to separate the links. It doesn't matter which link. I wish you could put space between the links, but it looks like you can't. It doesn't matter which link you choose. It's the same episode and same length, but it's free. All are free, and the episode is not on DVD or Disney Plus or Hulu or any daily.com. This will be our first episode. Sorry guys, I'm typing episode tonight. So click one of the links and be ready to push play when I say go. Keep in mind is the way I start the live stream, the way I start the episodes is 3, 2, 1 now. Not when I say 1, when I say now. All right, now that I'm done typing it all up, I'm going to click send, and then we're going to get started. Okay, hang on. I do got to put this in YouTube, so. Whoops. Well, guys, sorry I was quiet. There's not much to say here, but just wanted. Okay, I want to get the L. There we go. Oh shoot. I want to copy this for YouTube. Control copy. Let's put it in the YouTube live chat. Oh, wow. Okay, hang on. The message is too big. I'm trying to fix it. Oh, shoot. Ah, okay, I can't get it. Here. Control, copy, cut. I'm going to send these 3 links. Link 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, control, copy. Control V. Man, my messages are too big to send in. Alright, control copy. Sorry, guys. It's just being weird, okay? Trying to make it so we can. Oh, shoot. Control copy. This is frustrating, guys. Control V. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Don't push. Okay. So basically, okay, for everyone confused on YouTube, if you see where it says link 1, that's link 1. And then there's a 2 right before the next link, and the 3 if you can look. And then it doesn't matter which link you choose. It's the same episode and the same length, but all links are free for the episode. Is not on DVD, Disney Plus, or Hulu, or any streaming app except YouTube and dailymotions.com. This will be our first episode tonight, so click one of the links and be ready to push play when I say go. We'll do a 3-second countdown, but don't push play till I say now. Not one, now. Okay? That's what I'm trying to say. Sorry, we're starting late now. It was 6:59 when I decided to copy and paste it into the YouTube live chat, but it turns out YouTube live chat has a limitation on how many words you can use in a message, and it was way too long. So dang it. And what the worst part is as I was cutting the message into smaller little pieces, um, my technology was a little freezy up, and it wasn't copying and pasting everything that that I wanted it to. And so anyway, when trying to separate it into smaller messages, it just got a little complicated. And yeah, now we're not. Now it's 7:04, so we're starting late. But anyway, sorry. Just thought I'd send the links out. Our first episode is not going to be from Disney Plus or Hulu. It's you can watch the Daily Motion version or the YouTube version. So click one of these links I put in the live chat, and that will be our first episode. We're going to start it in just a few seconds, so make sure you have it ready. I'm going to have my headphones in. So here we go. Here we go. At least on the Facebook live chat, I was able to make a long message. But anyway, we're gonna get started now. Our first episode. I'm gonna watch the YouTube version, but all 4 versions are 39 minutes and 30 seconds, so it doesn't matter which one you do, as long as I don't run into any ads as we're watching this. Otherwise, that would be a problem. Maybe I should do a different version. I don't know. I don't think this has ads. Um, I don't want to risk it, but at the same time, I have both the episodes on Disney Plus ready and the one on YouTube ready, and I don't want to have to waste another minute trying to get the Daily Motion one ready because I know that one doesn't have you know, uh ads. So anyway, I just want to watch the one I have ready. So let's just hope this YouTube one does not have ads. But anyway, it doesn't matter which one you watch. So we're gonna get started now at 7:05. Oh my goodness, we are starting late. So we're gonna get started like literally right now. I'm just checking YouTube one more time. Okay. All right, guys. Sorry for the silence. I was writing up a long message in the chat. And so, anyway, I'm sorry if you got bored for a while. But anyway, we're going to get started now. All right. If your timestamp's at 0, obviously it should be 30 minutes and 20 seconds. And if you're watching the YouTube version, make sure that, the way timestamp works on the YouTube version is you can see how much you watched so far. Make sure it says 0 on there. We're going to get started. This is a Once Upon a Time Behind the Scenes episode. You get to kind of see the CGI. Last time we kind of saw the town that Storybrooke was filmed in, Stevenston, Canada. We also got to see the back sets and the props, and stuff. But now we're going to see the computer effects and the manacle effects and the special effects and the CGI stuff, okay? And the green screen, if you know what a green screen is, right? All the stuff that you can't use a real life town on, all the stuff you can't use a real thing on that you have to just pretty much animate, right? So anyway, that's what our episode's going to be about tonight. There will be insights at the end, but it won't spoil much. Don't worry. They're going to give us some insights on the upcoming arcs. So just get ready, guys, because we're going to get started. Just going to check my live streams one more time. Okay, we don't have really good audience at the moment, but I'm sure we'll get it in a second. All right. All right. Here we go. We're just going to get started. All right. 3, 2, 1, now. See, we're going behind the scenes. All the CGI effects. Secrets of Storybrooke. Jennifer Morrison, who plays Emma Swan, is hosting the event. Yep, that's how this whole show started. How frustrating it would be to be the evil queen. No wonder she's the starring villain of, from the pilot along with Rumple. Yeah. They have this idea rolling around for a long time. Yep. Snow White was Snow White was Jennifer Goodwin's favorite princess growing up. The actor who plays Snow White was her favorite character. That must be exciting for your for you to get casted as your favorite role in like a remake of sorts or something. I like the actor of Emma Swan, Jennifer Morrison. That just sounds so boring. They're talking about, so I guess I didn't remember this part. They're talking about casting. I mean, they casted the show pretty well. How funny. There's Colin O'Donoghue, the guy who plays Hook. That must have been a scary audition. That must have been a scary audition. Lana Parrilla, who plays the evil queen, her audition was, "Sorry, I'm late." You never say sorry to a director. If you walk in insecure saying, "Sorry, I'm late," then they're probably not gonna cast you usually. But she was doing it in evil queen character, because in the pilot, she says, "Sorry, I'm late," in a evil way, so, you know, she must have been very good act she must have had very good acting to scare the directors to death. One thing you never say to a director is sorry, but that was part of her character. The real world is a place where villains can get happy endings, because it's not like fairy tales where it's easy to get a happy ending if you're good. It's more complicated than that. Okay, we've already seen all this back when we watched the Frozen arc. We already know about the Stevenson town, but I guess it's a good refresher. The clock tower, that's different. That's visual effects. That's green screen. That's CGI. There's CGI when it comes to the clock tower. See, green screen. Did you just see that? Some of the shots were green screened and they weren't in the real town. Yeah, there is no clock tower. Than their real world selves. Mhm. Yep. Again, Aradro was from our last special. He showed us some of the costumes that were, last arc. I was gonna say last season, but it's the same season. But, last time we had a special. Snow and Charming. Last time we got a lot of Elsa and Evil Queen costumes. and Robin Hood and Belle costumes, but we didn't get much Snow White and Charming. So I guess just this is not just this is not about the CGI. It's about further behind the scenes footage that we didn't get before. Next, computer CGI. Secrets of Storybrooke, guys. Magic. So we're going to talk about magic now. There is a lot more going on. A lot more than what they are showing us. Mhm. We need to find one of these passageways and go see the fairy tale world, don't you think? That would be cool. If you could go to any fairy tale land, where would you go? Oz, Arendelle, Enchanted Forest, where most of our Disney characters are. Um, Wonderland. Hey, we just had Elsa last month, so that's what I can say. Last month, that's when we dealt with the first half of season 4. So when I'm referring to last special, I'm referring to last month. Last month, we got a lot of behind the scenes, and now we're getting more of it. These are the guys who are helping create and produce the show. Exactly. See what they're doing in a science fiction story? They hang actors on wires and how they fly, hang on wires. Mhm. The actors have to pretend like they're in the real place, so it must be tricky. You can't really see what's there. You just have to picture it or imagine it. See, when Charming's jumping on the dragon, he's really just he's strapping on a giant fake pickle. Huh. You can tell he's not on a real dragon, obviously. And I hate to spoil the magic for any little kids. If you thought fairy tales, if you thought this was real and they were really on dragons, I hate to break it to you. Yeah, according to the actor of Emma Swan, it was outrageous for her to imagine what was going on because it's usually show don't tell, and it's hard to see what's going on until you watch the finished product. You have to trust in your invisible friend. Exactly. The animator, trust your animator when they make noises. They are good at they are good at making. Mhm. See, he well controlled him. Yeah. And he used the remote to turn on to make it daytime or nighttime. That's funny. This is them filming in the woods. And as I was saying earlier, you have to trust in your invisible friend and have to, you know, they do create big monsters, and you just have to react to what you think is there. Yeah, there's probably some choreography involved, when it comes to those things. They tell you what to do, and you do it, and then they fill in the rest, the behaviors and stuff with that. Also, oh, by the way, it rains 329 days of the year in Vancouver, Canada, and Houston. And so all of these actors most likely filmed most of their seasons in the rain, and they had to cut that out of the show, make it so you couldn't see the rain, and make sure the actors and the cameras didn't get wet. They must have probably had tents, something. And like we saw before, some of the set pieces are indoors, like Granny's and Gold Shop. They didn't always film on the real location, so they only have 8 days to film an episode. That's important to stay on schedule for. You don't wanna get behind if you only have 8 days. It is a short amount of time. You make 22 episodes a year, and you only have 8 days per episode. What does that math out? 176. They spend 100 and that is magic. Sorry, I had to stop what I was saying because Jennifer Morrison, who's the host of this marathon, host of this special, and she should do all the talking, not me. She just she just mentioned about how every single week, every single episode, we are taken to fantastic worlds like Neverland, Oz, Arendelle, and that's like magic within itself. Oh, there's more behind the scenes to be told. With the curse breaking and going back to the pilot, I guess. Technology has advanced even since then, so it'd be cool to see them do one sometime now. And I bet as the show progressed, they used newer technology in seasons 4, 5, and 6. So the show's probably effectively looking better than it did in season one. Because in season one, the special effects look bad to some people. When you further into the show, it's not as bad. That's a lot for a character who doesn't know about her parents, gave up a baby for adoption. She has like no family. Emma Swan. Mm. Guys, deja vu. Nostalgia. Henry knocking on Emma's door, how this marathon all started. He went to New York to get Emma. That's what started all this. Brings back old memories with this pilot. Emma and Henry have great acting. Jennifer Morrison. There's two Jennifers on the show. Jennifer Goodwin, who plays Snow White. Jennifer Morrison, who plays Emma Swan. Jennifer Morrison, Emma Swan, the Savior, um, and Jared Gilmore, who plays Henry, have a great mother and son relationship chemistry on the show. Same with Lana and Jared. The one who's talked about the most is Lana and Jared, actually, the stepmother. I mean, the adopted mother. Stepmother too, step-great-grandmother, 'cause she was the stepmother. Family tree complicated, right? Henry's not Henry's mother is also his great-grandmother, that's crazy. Hmm. Henry was so little back then. Now he's kind of a teenager. From where we're watching in the show right now, he's kind of a teenager. It's crazy how much he's grown. He almost acts like an adult by the end of the show. Henry, the actor! Jared Gilmore can't even put the show together. His family's confusing. This is why Thanksgiving sucks in the show. They can't have it because it's confusing. Not to me. And, it's weird, to have, like, dads marry your grandmothers and stuff, but it makes sense. It makes sense. It's just weird, gross, but makes sense. I'm able to piece it together because I just have that kind of a brain, but it's like a messy family tree. One thing to marry your 5th or 4th cousin, but another thing, marrying your parents? Ew. It's not exactly like that, but Regina did become Snow White's mother, and if Snow White is Henry's grandmother, that means Regina great-grandmother, not mother. We just missed the joke, I'm sorry. The turnover. There was a turnover joke with the poison apple pie that Henry ate in season 1. Mhm. Poison. We're halfway through the episode, guys. Henry! Remember when he went to his sleeping curse? We all thought Henry died until True Love's kiss broke the spell. That's a thing on the show that happens a lot. True Love's kiss breaks every sleeping curse from Snow White to Sleeping Beauty. Now, once upon a time. Yeah, see? In Disney fairy tales, we always think it's our prince, it's our soulmate, it's our husband who will break the sleeping curse when we eat a poison apple or prick our finger on a spinning wheel. But it's not but we don't have to be married or have a boyfriend or girlfriend to be with him from the spell. What could possibly go wrong? Rumple brings magic and creates chaos, we all know from season 2. But anyway, but yeah, true love comes in many forms, as I was saying. It could be mother and son, it could be cousins, it could be best friends. It doesn't have to be true love's kiss, parent kissing, sibling kissing. It could be any love. That's true love. Family member, not just your future husband or future wife. Yeah, at the end of your first season, the curse did break. Can you guys believe that that the actors thought the curse would be broken by the end of the series? That's crazy. Regina is a villain for our times. You know, they're not just straight on pure evil like the good old days. I'm glad I live in the modern days, not my grandparents' age. Mhm. Have you noticed the Evil Queen has come a long way from being evil to good and my hero? I think she's a full-on hero as of the end of season 3, but then Emma brought Marion back from the dead, and, that caused her to possibly go back to evil in the Frozen arc, but then she didn't eventually, so only Rumple's the one who turned evil again, and that's how Belle pushed her across the town line, so now we'll never see Rumple in Storybrooke. Once Upon a Time is good at finding its sequel, so they're gonna keep Rumple on the show. Don't think this was the end of him from last. Oh, Venus dresses. We kind of saw some of them last month as well. In the Frozen Storybook special here. All the costumes are awesome, especially Regina's the Evil Queens. Lana Parrilla, the actor. We did get, yeah, that is an addictive instinct that Regina has, is magic. Regina did redeem herself pretty well lately. She was the Evil Queen not too long ago, actually, because of the Shattered Sight spell. Remember last week? The Shattered Sight spell that brought us back the Evil Queen for an episode? That was kinda cool. Almost killing Snow White and her baby. "You killed my true love. Now I'm gonna return the favor. I'm gonna take your baby." Thanks to Anna, though, that didn't happen. She forgot. She still wanted to kill Snow White, though. Just briefly, though, because of that was the Shattered Sight, makes everyone the worst of themselves. The worst of the Evil Queen is wanting to kill Snow White, but yeah. Obviously Regina's good now with that, when she's not under that spell. So, sorry you missed this, but Lana was talking about her audition as the Evil Queen. Jared Gilmore auditioned the same day, and she came out of that audition saying to Jared Gilmore, "You're gonna be my son," before knowing that they were casted and they made it into the show. It could have been another Evil Queen or another Henry that made it, but she somehow knew it was Jared Gilmore, and ended up teasing him, "You're gonna be my son," and little no, she was right. Son in the show, not in real life, but they are like mother and son in real life as well. You can have a father figure that isn't your father, you can have a father figure that isn't your mother, and sometimes you get that when you're on a play or TV show together. Yeah, that was sad back in season 2 when Regina helped get Snow and Emma back to the real world, and no one invited her for the victory party. Yeah. See, they're unlike Disney, these writers here didn't want people just to be evil just to be evil. They wanted a reason why, and they wanted them to struggle to be good. And I think Rumple's struggling the most, actually, now that I'm saying this. So Regina and Robin, as much as they want to be together, there's always an obstacle that gets in the way, whether it's Marion or whether it's sending her across the town line. Now you notice Sean McGuire's the actor of Robin Hood here. You see the title card in below. Um, the reason why Robin Hood is in this special is that he is coming back after we watch a few episodes. He won't be back tonight, but as we get later on to the end of the season, he comes back. There's love we're going to talk about. So speaking of love, really quick, Secrets of Story title. Um, Robin Hood and being in love with Regina and Marion at the same time. There's something off about Marion. Let me just tell you. There's something off about Marion, which is what's going to bring Robin Hood back. And I'm not going to spoil more than just that tease. There's something wrong with Marion. I'll leave it to you, I guess, unless you've already seen the show. That. So Jennifer Morrison was just saying, I know, true love. I know. It's the most magical thing of all. But before you find that handsome prince, you have to kiss a lot of weird things. And Jennifer Morrison just put in her contract to kiss uh, George, George, um, what's the right word? George's men. I don't know what word she just said. But anyway, she wanted to before finding her true love, she wanted to kiss other boys. Like the Wizard of Oz. Remember, she almost married the Wizard of Oz and Graham, and Neil, and so anyway, I told you Emma and Hook was gonna stick, so hopefully you're not still stuck on me. But Hook and Emma are the eventual lovers here, but Emma has to fall in love with other people first, as we saw in the beginning of the show. Yes, there's a lot of chemistry between Emma, Hook, and a bunch of other characters. Snow White, Charming, Regina, and Robin. Well, just a little hint. Just a little. Just a little. Oh, look, this is the writers' room. This is when they discuss what they want to happen in each episode. I wish I could be part of these discussions. This would have been cool. Yeah, no one matches with Rumple. He's yep. No one matches Rumple's personality. No one's addicted to power, I don't think. Not the way he is. Yeah, Belle's not crazy for wanting to marry the worst guy of the, pretty much son of the devil. She's just crazy in love. Rumple's pretty much that bad. I put him on the level of the devil himself almost. Being the dark one causes you to be very, very evil. Emily DeRaven plays Belle, and her hair is blonde in real life, not brown as it is in the show. This is when they're trying to discuss Rumple and Belle's breakup. This is when they're discussing Belle and Rumple's breakup. Or never mind. It's their first episode of Belle and Rumple. They still broke up after. If you remember the flashback, Rumple let him go, just like let her go. But unlike Beauty and the Beast Disney version, Belle never came back because of Regina. That's why she got locked up for 30 years. Rumple does kind of look, if you notice, as they're talking about Rumple's costume, if you notice they added crocodile skills. Crocodile, he just said it when I said it. Crocodile skins on the costume to make them look like kind of a crocodile for Peter Pan, crocodile that took Hook's hand, right? While also being a human who fell in love with Belle, the Beast. So he's in Peter Pan, he's in Beauty and the Beast, and he's his own character, Rumpelstiltskin. Some of these Disney characters are multiple people. They cross over into other movies. To have someone be the Beast and the crocodile, Peter Pan, and Rumpelstiltskin, that's His name is Robert Carlyle, who plays Rumpelstiltskin. He has fun with the character. So yeah, the actors also this was mentioned earlier, but I never talked about it. The actors also thought the end of the series would be them breaking the curse. So, like, normally you'd think the actors would know and they would keep it in the dark for the audience to be surprised. But even the actors didn't know the curse was gonna break at the end of season 1. Normally that's the end of the story. But in Once Upon a Time, when the curse breaks, no one lives happily ever after because of the sequels. Season 2 and 3 brings all new challenges and villains and more curses. We had another curse in season 3. The second curse happened in season 3, and that broke, and the show continued on to Frozen, and now we're in the Queens of Darkness. The show never ends, guys. Even when I was watching this live, I was thinking the show's going on forever because even in the trailer, Emma says this isn't over, and Hook says it never is. There's always a new adventure to go on, whether that's Arendelle, Oz, Wonderland. The show's forever going. Except then you get to season 7, and television doesn't care about the storyline or anything. They care about numbers and ratings and quality quantities of the show. And if they turn out bad, then sometimes it's time. And they turn out, sometimes they'll still renew it. But if it's bad enough, if it's bad enough, they'll eventually cancel. Perfect timing to say that. 'Cause once after 7 seasons, Once Upon a Time does get canceled, and it's pushing it. It's like pushing it over the town line to never return again. I cried during this last week. Remember when Belle pushed Rumble across the town line? I cried during that scene last week, last week. This was 11 years ago when it aired. Belle's stronger than she was in season 1. She was acceptable to Rumple's darkness in season 1 and 2, but she's a strong woman in season 4. She won't stand it. If Rumple should have not chosen power because all magic comes with a price, as Emma said, and or Jennifer Morrison, who plays Emma Swan, said, all magic comes with a price. And by choosing power, he lost his love. We were just saying this. As Emma said, nothing ever ends on this show. No happy endings. No turning the book and saying the end. More marathon to come. Next, we're going to get some insights on the upcoming season 4. That's what they're telling us. We only have 5 minutes left of the episode. Happy endings. Kind of funny how the writers said, "Can you show Regina's death?" Regina's not going to die. That was not a spoiler. That was a joke. Evil Queen is not dead. Gonna die. Whether you're good or evil, it all comes down to family. That is true. No matter how evil you get or how good you get, your family will always love you. Yeah. Well, that didn't seem that way when Bellcrop pushed Rumple across the town line. It sounded like she didn't love him anymore because he chose power over her. So I don't know about that. I guess that's a different kind of love. Romantic love is fragile, but family love is permanent. Yeah, these fairy tale characters deal with life different. They deal with curses and magic while we deal with report cards and bills. I would rather deal with magic and spells. I don't want to deal with bills and credit card debts, right? This is a great distraction from the real world, isn't it? If you have credit card debts that you're upset about and you don't deal with them, I hope you're watching my marathon as a break from reality. The last thing Jennifer Goodwin as Snow White wanted was to fall in love with one of her co-stars on the show. And that's exactly what happened. She fell in love with Prince Charming in real life. They got married and had kids in real life. What's a good vacation for Snow and Charming? That's a good question because you kind of need a crisis to keep the show interesting. What would everyone's happy ending be if they didn't keep dealing with new villains and new arcs? That's what they're all going over right now. What would everyone's happy ending be? Yeah, and as Emma Swan said, that's not going to happen anytime soon. We get more villains, more seasons. We're only on 4. We got 7. No happy ending till season. So, Insight 1. New villains. That's not a spoiler. We kind of got that last week. Spoiler alert, let me listen. We're gonna we're gonna find out new secrets about Snow and Charming's past. That's not a spoiler. I'm not telling you what the secrets are, but we're gonna find out new secrets about Snow and Charming. We're about to find out. Are you ready to watch? Once Upon a Time, Secrets of Storybrooke has just wrapped. Are you about to watch? We're gonna start it. What time is? What do you mean it's back? It's been on for a while. These villains will finally have their happy endings. All new now on ABC. Okay, so one cool thing about this special is I hope you didn't click off as the episode ended. Instead of credits, it gives you a trailer because this aired right before the next episode, and that's what normally each special does. They just don't record the trailer; they just record the credits usually. But with this specific episode alone, they didn't record the credits separate from the commercials that played during the credits. And so, anyway, if you just watch the last 15 seconds of the special that we just saw, gave us the trailer to the Queens of Darkness, and you said Once Upon a Time starts now on ABC. You know, I think that works well because as we're watching this episode, it's not ABC that it starts on; it's my live stream that it starts right now on, and so anyway, yes, Queens of Darkness, and they are going to get their happy endings, guys. I said in a post. I know, I know the story sounds repetitive, and you might lose interest. Don't lose interest because this is not like before with the Snow Queen, Peter Pan, and the Wicked Witch, where new villain. 9 episodes later, you kill them, you defeat them, good wins. No, the villains will win this time. I hate to spoil that, but I wanted you guys to stay entertained. It's not going to be good that wins all the time. Evil will win. Evil does win a few times. Mostly good because it's a family-friendly show, obviously. But villains do win. And one factor that's interesting about this is that, usually we're dealing with one main villain. I did kind of say there was 2 before because of the Snow Queen and Rumple, but Rumple's the part of the main cast. That's, anyway. You can argue it was just the Snow Queen. It was just Peter Pan. It was just the Wicked Witch. For 3.5 seasons, or 4 seasons, I guess, if you count Wonderland, 4.5 seasons, we've been dealing with one villain for the most part. Now it's changed. Because unlike the villains, we've had a team of heroes, and when you work as a team, you're bound to be stronger. This time we have a team of villains going against a team of heroes with where the odds aren't stacked against them. It's pretty even. And let me tell you this, the villains do win. I hate to spoil that, but the villains do win. So you might want to stay tuned and watch. Anyway, there was also a trailer to tease that an Evil Emma will be coming. Obviously not tonight, but an Evil Emma is also coming. So stick around to see our main character, star of the show, protagonist, turn into the antagonist. Okay, stick around just to see that happen as we go through the Christmas season. Okay. So we got a potential Evil Emma, and we got more than one villain this time around. So that should hopefully up the stakes for you to stay interested. And knowing that by the end of the season, the villains win. So, sorry, had something caught in my throat. So, with that said, we're going to start the next episode. But just wanted to let you know, stay tuned because it's going to be a little different. It's not defeat and repeat. They're going to mix it up a little bit and with some different drama. So, but you're never gonna know for sure unless you start watching with me. So we're gonna get started. But anyway, that was our Once Upon a Time Secrets of Storybrooke. And may I please quickly note that was 39 minutes and 30 seconds, the shortest episode we'll ever watch on a show. Because normally these episodes are more than 40 minutes. They're usually 43. Some might be 42. Some of the Wonderland episodes were 41. And some of our specials may be up to 40 minutes at the shortest. But this was a 39-minute episode. So this is by far and going forward, the only episode that's 39 minutes. No other episode's going to be that short. So I hope you enjoyed this short episode, especially since I always talk too much in between episodes, like right now, keeping us behind schedule. And so anyway, I hope that buys us time so that if I talk too much, we can kind of still stay on schedule. And if I start right now, we'll still be on schedule. So I'm gonna start now, so we're not behind schedule. So yes, get your I hope sorry. I know I did. I know I said I know I said before to have the Once Upon a Time special ready, but I also hope you have Disney Plus ready because we don't do one episode a night. We do more than that. We're gonna start our next episode now, so I hope now you have Disney Plus ready because the next episode we're watching is obviously on Disney Plus. We're watching the actual show. This was just the behind the scenes episode that we just finished. So hopefully you have Disney Plus ready. If you need to pause the live stream, go ahead. I'm not going to wait any longer. I want to stay on top of the schedule, so I'm going to push the next episode. But go ahead if you're behind. Um, or if you're not ready. But before I start the countdown, one thing that I got interrupted on that I was going to say is they spend 8 days on an episode, right? I did the math, and it's 176 days since they do 22 episodes a year. It's 176 days of filming. That's almost a school year. A school year is about 180. Lately, they've been shortening it a little bit. This school year is 176 days as well. So anyway, it's about the length of a school year. Um, Imagine how you go to school Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday as a kid, elementary, junior high, high school, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Imagine going to Once Upon a Time to film an episode instead of learning math, English, science. Okay. And you did that from the end of August. So how school years work in our district is the school year starts at the end of August and ends at the end of May. I know it's different all around the world. But anyway, if that's how school years work for you, just imagine instead of going to school, and some of you could be teachers. So, instead of going to school to teach kids, you go to film Once Upon a Time from the end of August all the way to the end of May. Like, of course, you'll get spring break, winter break, whatever, but that's what you're pretty much doing. It takes a whole school year. All with the amount of school days there are in a year, that's how long in a school year, amount of school days there are in a school year. That's how long it takes to film an entire season of Once Upon a Time. Crazy, right? Crazy. Anyway, just wanted to throw that out there. Now we are 3 minutes behind schedule. So I'm sorry. I was trying to start at 7:50, but I just wanted to throw that out there. Well, okay, we are ready to start the next episode now. For real. Okay? Now we're gonna start the second half of the season for real after watching that special episode. All right. Okay, countdown. Not when I say one, when I say now. Ready? 3, 2, 1, now. Henry found the author's house. Yep. Emma's in to help Regina find her happy ending. We have a 6-week time jump, and Rumple finds Ursula and wants to find the author himself to force him a happy ending. The Enchant Forest a long time ago. So that's a good recap right there. We're gonna find some secrets about Snow White and Charming's past too. See, didn't spoil much. That was pretty much all they said. Secrets of Snow White and Charming's past. New villains, more than one, new and different than what we're used to, having more than one new villain, and hinting at an evil savior. Regina's death was just a joke. That's pretty much all they said. Levson and Ursula are having a fight, and Cruella is about to join in. Introduction to the Queens of Darkness, though we kind of already had an introduction to them at the end of the Frozen arc. Because Cruella says they don't eat fish or dragon. That's a kind of a joke since Maleficent turns into a dragon and Ursula's kind of a sea witch, the octopus kind, so she's technically a fish creature. Cruella is no animal whatsoever unless you want to consider her a Dalmatian. Rumple's the one who invited them together in Maleficent's castle. That's funny. Yes, Rumple's admitting that they're all villains, and it's time they got happy endings. He didn't admit that when when he was trying to fill his power with that hat. He said he was trying to be a hero. He's trying to hide the fact that he was a villain, but he admitted it in the past. But remember, we had a 6-week time jump since Belle pushed Rumple over the town line, since Elsa and Anna went back to Arendelle, and everything like that. Everything wrapped up, right? For a while, things have not been getting back to normal because we've been jumping from Neverland, Oz, Wonderland, Frozen. It's nice for everyone to get a break and go back to normal lives for at least 6 weeks, which is not very long. I mean, to be fair, when they went back to the Enchant Forest after the Neverland arc, they had a year break, but only Emma and Henry did have a normal life. Everyone else still had to face the Wicked Witch in the Enchant Forest. So this is the one point in the show. This is probably one of the rare few points in the show where everybody gets a 6-week break. And how dare Regina use a fireball and just as I'm saying it, burn Snow White's painting of a bird. That was her office. She was the mayor. She's the one who cast the second curse. Guess she gave the job back to Regina, but that doesn't mean you burn that painting. Yeah. Regina didn't want to be mayor at first because she was upset over Robin and Marion, and you know, they were married before, but she died. Robin moved on. She came back from the dead after he fell in love with someone else. So it's kind of complicated. So she didn't want to deal with any crisis, but now she's over it, even though she's had to send Robin across the town line. She's back to being a mayor, though, not being evil like she was in the Frozen arc. She's back to being a good mayor. That's good. Belle's reopening the library. Everyone's just going back to normal. We do not need to add Cruella, Ursula, and Maleficent to the mix. We don't need to add the Queens of Darkness. Let's just have everyone live happily ever after right now. For anyone who did not count the Wonderlands show or the specials, you know, Once Upon a Time Frozen arc, right after finishing the arc, we were halfway through the show. 3.5 seasons down, 3.5 to go. After we finish season 4, we get 3 more seasons. No spin-off series though. So we are past halfway if you do include it. Can't believe, but the last time you could have said we were halfway was right before we started our marathon tonight. So now you have no way. Even if you don't count the specials or the Wonderland series, we are no way halfway in any or on any accounts whatsoever. We are almost done, then we are just barely started. But we still, just because we just started this second half of the series over the past couple weeks, still going to be like what, 8 months before we finish the show because it took 8 months to get halfway in the first place. Belle and Rumple were both tricked by Rumple. Yep. They're all sorrowing over Rumpelstiltskin and his bad choices. Belle, move on. Marry someone else. Stop sorrowing over Rumpelstiltskin and your breakup with him. Hook and Belle do have good chemistry. Hook is into Emma, of course, but Belle and Hook have good relationship chemistry in regards to both being betrayed by Rumpelstiltskin. As much of a villain he was, he still loved Belle. But he chose power over her. Now he's gone. Um, did he find what he was looking for? I don't know. You guys have problems. That's losing. That's your problem. Losing to good. Losing to heroes. You know, evil can't triumph. Until now, the end of your misery. Hmm. We've met Ursula in the real world. Let's meet Cruella in the real world. Great Neck, Long Island. Some of us are doing better than others. She had hope before. Well, it is from the real world, though. If you watch 100 Around Dalmatians, it's based on a real world, scenario. Unfortunately, we don't get Anita and what's her husband's name? Roger. Roger and Anita. They're not in Once Upon a Time, but we did get Pongo from as Jiminy Cricket's pet, and now we get Cruella. Where's the other 101 Dalmatians? Not everything. You get to keep your car. Raquel really got him there. Can you really give me my happy ending when in this world, even walking's a challenge for you? Dark one? Do you ever call him Rumple, Quilla? Why do you call him Dark one? Rumple got to her. Are you tired of being ordinary? Let's go back where you could get your magic. Wow. The FBI had to run out of the way as she drove because she doesn't watch where she's going. They're going to Storybrooke. Unfortunately, Maleficent is not in the real world. If you don't remember, we already came across her, in the show, in the present day. In season one, she was a dragon, and Emma had to kill her to break the curse. It didn't break the curse, but it was part of her getting the love potion, which Rumple stole, and then she went to give Henry true love's kiss. If you remember the season one finale, you should rewatch it before this live stream. Anyway, they killed Maleficent, so there's no picking up her somewhere in New York or Boston, right? We all know she died. So now that Rumple has found Cruella, they can head to Storybrooke. Took them 6 weeks though. Can't believe it took them 6 weeks to hunt them down. I don't think their names were Cruella and Ursula in the real world. I wonder what their real world names were. They never tell us. In the flashback, Rumple needs all three Queens of Darkness to help him get something. And he can't get it himself. He's a coward for sure because he has magic and he's immortal. I don't know why he can't get it himself. Except Rumple, Regina, the evil queen, who's now good, wanted to find the author long before you did. She wanted to find it as soon as the Frozen arc started, but we got too focused on Elsa and Anna to focus on that plot. And now that Elsa and Anna are out of the picture, you have a challenge. Are you going to find the author before Regina does? That's what this half of the season is focused on, is the author. I told you we were going to focus on a storyline after the Frozen arc, and we are right now focusing on the author, Henry's book. We have to get there before the heroes do. How funny is that? They have to find the author before the heroes find him. Because they all want the author. Who gets to them first, the villains or the heroes? I have 3 root beer bottles on my shelf that are empty. Regina is like, show some respect. It's not a cruel joke. There is still hope, Regina. Be patient. Like I hinted before, there's something wrong with Marion. Maybe you haven't noticed it in the Frozen arc, but there's something wrong with Marion. Let me just tell you, there's something wrong with Marion. And it's not about the ice curse or anything like that. There's something else wrong with Marion. And if there's something wrong with Marion, that means that there's a door still open for Regina. Free the Fairies Day. Should that be a holiday? Free the Fairies Day. Remember how Hook trapped the fairies during the Snow Queen's curse? They trapped the fairies into a hat. For 6 weeks, they've been trying to get them out. I'm surprised they hadn't brought them out already. For us, we had to wait 3 months before this season could return. I was going to say it's about time they bring everyone out of that hat. And remember what Belle said, once you're out of the hat, you can't be retrapped. I don't know if that's actually what Belle said, but someone said that. And the apprentice was trapped in the hat too. I don't think they freed the apprentice though. You should thank the mayor. Give Regina some credit. She's good now. She's no longer evil. Unfortunately, something else was in the hat. A big baddie monster. Every season starts with a weird monster. Remember in Frozen when they had to deal with Marshmallow? And then in season 2, they had to deal with a wraith in the first episode. I'm trying to think of other ones. A flying monkey on Emma's almost getting married date. It's always a random monster when it comes to the first episode. Cruella has the special ability to make animals her allies. That's what allowed Rumple to get through the door. Rumple couldn't do it himself. I mean, I guess he's not a dragon. I mean, and he can also just kill the bugs with a flick of his finger, though. She captured her dragonfire. How cool is that? Now, Ursula. So Maleficent was to take down the fire. Ursula. Rumple couldn't just poof that in his hand. Even if he was too lazy to walk up there and grab the curse, he could have just poofed it in his hand. And he just made Ursula use his tentacles. Rumple was all he did was be lazy. Honestly, if you couldn't move, like if you were in a wheelchair, because obviously there's stairs there, right? And there's not a wheelchair ramp. If you were in a wheelchair paralyzed and you did not have magic, I could see why Ursula could be a helpful tool. But Rumple's not in a wheelchair and he has magic. That was so lazy on his part. Like, it's one thing to be lazy to not get up with your 2 feet. Another lazy thing is not to use your magic if you have any. And then he left the Queens of Darkness to die. Well, they're alive in the present, so they didn't die. They survived, and it's that same baddie beast that we saw just recently in the present. So they survived that baddie beast. Cruella's threatening to kill Rumple. He's like, no more tricks, because we just saw in the flashback that he tricked the Queens of Darkness into a trap to die against that beast. And he's like, we're not going to let you trick us again. Tell us the truth. If we're falling into a trap, tell us now. Because in the real world, you're nothing more than a crippled coward, as Cruella says. Rumple cannot overpower the Queens of Darkness in the real world. Hmm. Rumple will not be on their side when they try to get into Storybrooke. Yep, they're not going to let Rumple back in, but they will let these two other ladies back in if they're not by Rumple when the heroes come. Oh, they also just to tell you, Cruella has the special ability to make animals allies. Maleficent has the special ability of fire, and Cruella just has the special ability. No, no, no. Ursula just has the special ability of reaching far places because her she has 8 hands and they stretch pretty far. That's a good combination of villains to put together. Disney has done the same thing with their own villains, except they kind of the poster I found, they added the evil queen to it. In case once upon a time, the evil queen is not one of the queens of darkness. She's one of the main characters of the show who used to be evil, but she became good. And she's not even a member in the of the Queens of Darkness in the past either when she was evil. So So guys, they've been looking for this sorcerer. And they just found out that the author and the sorcerer are two different people. They keep saying he, even though they don't know the gender. Guys, maybe it's a boy. I knew Regina was gonna say that. I just wanted her to say it. What's killing property violations this time? Every single new arc or season, they always start out with a monster, a random monster that either a villain's created or that it's just to hype us up or whatever. Yep, giant bat with the wings sitting on top of the clock tower. Looks like they have a monster to defeat. The author will have to wait again. But this is like a one episode monster. Honestly, it's not. Anyway. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention ogres. We dealt with an ogre for one episode. Crazy random monsters that just pop up in the show. They're either part of the new villain that's coming or they're just there to be there. So now that Cruella or Slim Maleficent have used their powers in the past, they're going to work together to escape this beast. And then obviously somehow that beast is going to get trapped in the hat and then eventually end up in Storybrooke. First time for everything. Trust each other, witches. You guys are like witches. I bet you noticed my hair changed from last time. You know what? It's a new season, it's winter, it's time to change it. It was red for the fall, it was blonde for the summer. I'm trying to change it to white. But they said but unlike the other colors, it sounds like they said this one would take a couple weeks. So it might seem a little bit blonde right now, but I'm trying to make it more white like Cruella's hair. Except without the black part, you know, just the white. And then with a little hint of blue. Aha! So Bill hasn't said it yet. I'm sorry for the spoiler. Once something is free, it can't be retrapped. I thought that was already mentioned before. Um, when we dealt with the hat in the Frozen arc. So once it's trapped, it can't be freed. This is what happens when you've already seen the show, and it's hard to keep track of which dialogue or like you've seen. Like, let's say you watched an object on this show, right? And you're watching it for the first time, and someone like me comes along who has seen the whole thing. They don't know which conversation, this object ends up in multiple seasons, and they don't know which you know facts about the object have been revealed. And so anyway, I'm sorry, it's hard to keep track of what's been revealed and what hasn't. I guess it's better to be safe quiet than sorry spoiling. But this is supposed to be a commentary, so I'm trying to stay engaging and talking the whole time because I have gone criticism for being quiet too much. I'm trying to respect you new viewers who are watching this for the first time, while at the same time I'm trying to give my commentary. So I'm sorry if I'm not quiet. They're just trying to figure out how to defeat this beast. If you miss a few conversations, it's not going to keep you behind. You can stay up to date without knowing every single thing that's happening. Guess you'll find. Yes, exactly. As Ursula said, I guess you'll find out tonight. Because we just saw Rumple betrayed them in the past, and so why do the Cruella and Ursula have any reason to trust them now? Dark One's cell phone. You almost got caught. Without inviting two witches into the town. That's how the Queens of Darkness defeated the monster. They trapped it in the hat. So at first, remember the town line. Once you go across it, you can never come back. First that used to be true, but then the Snow Queen did have before the town line was a thing. Before, no, well, not before it was a thing. Before the ice wall was down, Ingrid did show us a flashback of her getting into Storybrooke with the scroll. So like I said, once upon a time has its loopholes. Now you know how Rumple comes back into the show. They eventually get this, they give Cruella and Ursula, they don't know Rumple, they're working for Rumple. So they give the scroll to Ursula and Cruella, who then give it to Rumple when they're not looking. So, see, there's always a loophole. Once upon a time would never do something permanent. Ursula saved your life. Give her some credit. And I have to take out the fish on this dress left it says. Well, Regina, you're not the evil queen anymore. But, if the monster is going after the evilest heart in this town, I mean, Regina's been the only, besides Rumple, Regina's been the only one that was ever evil once. That's true. That's how Rumple got his limp on his leg. When he crosses over the town line, there's no magic, and that's how Marion got healed. So if we just throw it over the town line, it can't exist because it's a magical creature. And oh, see, Snow and Charming have a secret past with the Queens of Darkness that they're not happy about. So you can tell their frustration in their face when they should be happy that they're defeating the beast, but they're not. Snow and Charming have secrets. They're not. They're human. They can be evil too. So who knows how many villains are in this show now? No, Snow and Charming are not evil, but you can make like villains. You can make mistakes even if you're good. Vegeta just ditched you, Emma. Unfortunately, push it, push it, push it, push it, push it, push it. Yes. She stopped really hard and it caused it, driving the yellow bug. She pressed hard on her yellow slide bug and it caused the monster to fly over the town line, crushing it into dust. It benefits when you have the real world, right? It benefits when you have the real world to make things disappear because that's where magical things can't exist. It's not fairy tale land. It's not like fairy tale land. Snow and Charming are trying to stop them from letting them in. Snow and Charming are trying to cover up something here. They don't want Claw and Ursula to come in. That's not like them. And Emma's the sheriff, so she's in charge. Sorry, Snow and Charming. I know you're her parents, but they're in charge. Snow White and Charming can't argue against Regina on that. If they're letting her change, if they're willing to let her change, why can't they let two others? After all, Quill and Ursula are not here to be heroes, though. They are lying. They shouldn't be trusted, but only the audience knows that. The Snow Queen scroll. Snow Queen scroll. Regina's like, I better not regret letting you in. Yeah, you should regret it. They're up to evil. And the heroes don't know it. But they did the right thing to let them in because they had a deal, and heroes don't go back on a deal. And of course, they didn't. They should have grabbed the scroll back. They should have grabbed it back from them, but they didn't. Quill and Ursula held on to it. Now they're gonna give it to Rumple. Look, at first they didn't trust Rumple, and then they changed their minds, and Rumple's walking away thinking they didn't trust him, and then finally they threw the scroll. They probably just wanted to do it out of their own cruelty to wait until he walked away, just to give him a little bit of doubt before throwing it in to him. Quill and Ursula put their trust in Rumple. Rumple, you kind of thought that. You were walking away for a second. He's like, of course not. We're missing one person. Maleficent. Right? She's dead. Maleficent is not entirely dead. Plot twist. Plot twist. That beast seeks out the greatest evil, and which you could have kind of understand that it could have been Regina because she was the only one who was evil before. It was going after Emma Swan, who has the potential of evil, even though she's never made a wrong choice in her life. Well, actually, she has, but not that it would put you on the villain column. I mean, I guess she's been to jail and she had Henry in jail, but okay. Point is, Emma has the potential of evil. Plot twist. That's the hint of her possibly turning evil this by the end of the season. That's why I mentioned that teaser trailer. We're bound to get an evil Emma soon. Snow and Charming are having a private conversation with Cruella and Ursula. Prince wants to chat. Something serious. It's Regina's town, technically. Wow. Snow and Charming. No one knows that it was Emma that the Beast was after. Credits rolling. Okay, hang on before we start the next episode. Um, so no one knows that it was Emma that the Beast was going after, basically. And um, hey, feel free to push the next episode, but pause it really quick. Make sure your timestamp is Disney Plus wise 43 minutes and 49 seconds, and then we'll push play in a second. Anyway, so yeah, the Beast was after Emma Swan. No one except us as the audience, because Rumple's just told us as the audience. No one but us, the audience, and the Queens of Darkness know that. I mean, Cruella and Ursula, Maleficent's not back yet. Anyway, so the heroes don't know that it was after Emma. They still think it's after Regina. And so funny, I liked how Snow said that you won't have to worry with Regina's darkened heart, you won't have to worry about the evil queen. I will rip out your hearts myself if you spoil our secret. Snow and Charming have a past with these villains, and and that secret's bound to get exposed at some point in the future. So we'll find out what that past is. And well, it does get really sad. It comes to show that even heroes like Snow and Charming make the worst mistakes, like sinful mistakes. No one's purely hero, no one's purely villain. It's all gray in between. That's what with this show, we have had a lot of villains with heartbreaking flashbacks that make you understand and sympathize with them. And it's really just probably the same choice you could have made in their shoes or something like that. So anyway, it's not just pure evil, it's not just pure good. For a long time, we've been seeing villains who weren't purely evil, like Regina, who just turned evil because Snow White told a secret. That's not something to be evil over, but, just an example. We've had a lot of that happen in the show. But, we haven't had much of the opposite lately. We haven't had much of the heroes ending up making bad decisions. So anyway, that's a little bit of a plot twist here. We're here to not show how villains were once heroes. We're here to show heroes who were once villains, like Snow White and Charming. You never expect a Disney princess to be evil now, huh? Or like not evil per se, just someone anti-hero who made a bad choice. Anyway, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting for sure. We're gonna start the next episode in just a few seconds, but it's gonna be interesting when you guys find out what that secret is. Anyway, yeah, and the Queens of Darkness tell Emma their secret. She's gonna try to crush their heart out, but Snow White doesn't have magic to do that, so I don't know how she will do that. But she's really just it's really just a threat for now. All right. Anyway, so yes, we got to see the Queens of Darkness in action, more so than we did last week, because it was more focused on their introduction last week. Each of them we got to see their each special skills with animal control, fire control, and arm stretching control. Ursula just stretches her arms really. I don't know if I call that magic with her sea witch tentacles, octopus tentacles. anyway, we're gonna start the next episode now, but yeah, as Rumpel said, another plot twist that happened. He was the one who sent Belle. Belle didn't know it was him, otherwise she wouldn't trust it. And he's the one who in a fake identity way, he was the one who sent Belle the way to free the fairies. And so anyway, he was willing to help out, and it was all part of his plan. And so anyway, he also knew that the Queens of Darkness would eventually, or at least Quilla and Ursula would eventually make a deal to let him in, with the heroes to let them in town, then therefore letting Rumple back in town to cause havoc again. So anyway, it's all part of the plan. It's all part of the deal. So it's all part of his plan. So anyway, he was able to do a lot of powerful stuff, even at his lowest cripple, broken leg, no magic self. He was able to, do a lot of powerful stuff outside, and now he's back in the inside, so he's probably going to do a lot worse. So anyway, starting the next episode now, but just wanted to say all that. So yes, get ready for a worsened Rumple, a potential evil Emma, and yes, Quella, Ursula, and Maleficent. Here we go. Okay, when I say now, not when I say one. Ready? 3, 2, 1, now. Start the episode. We're gonna bring Maleficent back from the dead, guys. We've had one episode where we saw Ursula, then an episode where we got Cruella. Now it's time to reunite the band. It's kind of like if you've seen TV shows and movies where they're trying to get the band back together. It's usually 3 players, and that's kind of what they're going with here. Now they're getting the final player back. This is another thing. One thing you're probably sick of now is not just the villains losing, but the fact that they kill the villains off the show permanently and they never come back. That's about to change starting now. Maleficent's the first villain they're going to bring back from the dead, and she's the first of many as we continue on with the show. So if you thought you said goodbyes to your Cora, Peter Pan, Wicked Witch, not saying they're the ones that are going to come back from the dead, but like, all the villains we faced in the past, all the villains we faced in the past. If you say good, if you thought you said your final goodbye, think again. Maybe not on all of them. Some of them do stay dead, but not all of them, like I said. So be open minded on who might come back. Maleficent being the first from season one. And as you see, Snow White had it. Now, I bet you were confused for a second. Why is Maleficent back now? We haven't seen her resurrect yet. Um, they're gonna get to that. Snow White just had a nightmare about Maleficent being back and threatening to take their baby because Snow and Charming have a newly born baby right before the Frozen arc. Remember, it was born. Anyway, she threatened to Maleficent threatened to take their child away, and it was like a nightmare to Snow White. Yep, she's dead for now till they bring her back. Unlike real resurrection, where the body is reunited with the spirit and you live forever, the way they resurrect people in the show is that they're not immortal. They're still mortal. They're just back alive, mortally, so they could die again. Technically, there's a way for that to happen in real life. You fake your death, which is not real dying, but that's the closest you can get. Hey, look, it's a dragon flying on top of the Once Upon a Time title sequence. How cool is that? We're getting a Snoring Charming flashback. We're going to see some of their bad decisions. Summer Palace is wonderful. Mhm. It's not Regina, though. Last time we saw Maleficent before she died, she was wearing more purple than black. Cruella's a little upset that she won't get their drinks. They're all scared of you guys. They did not like how they yeah. Costume jewelry. The evil queen did not like how they said, "Didn't you kill an entire North Village, or was it the South Village in front of Henry?" Barely 13, 14-year-old teenager. The next time you say my formal sins in front of my son, You'll be hopping across the town line as fast as you can say costume jewelry. That's kind of funny. That's the sheriff's department, not the mayor's apartment. uh, Captain Hook was not there when they let him in town, so he doesn't know. He's like, he's like, wow, Queens of Darkness are here, or at least Ursula is. Charming and Snow just now. Okay, they are evil, but Snow and Charming. Belle just said, "Try anything, and you'll both hop out of here as toads." Everyone doesn't like the Queens of Darkness. They all want to believe that they're evil. Just trust that they're good, and then when they prove you wrong, then you can start reacting like you need to defeat them. Be patient. They did kidnap Belle the last time she met them, so she didn't. She doesn't like them at all. Belle does not like these ladies at all. Neither does Granny. And Charming is like so hateful against them. He wants to figure out what they're up to, like right off the bat. Okay, you never have you ever felt suspicious about someone? Imagine you just wanted to be suspicious and not feeling suspicious that someone's bad. I mean, like they are suspicious, but normally you don't pick that up until after they've been in town for a few days. It's like Charming and Snow just really want to get rid of them and not have them be here very long. Talk about watching them 24/7. There's all of Maleficent's dust. We've also saw her in now one thing I forgot to mention is we see Maleficent in season 2. When Hook was sent down there to distract her while Regina was getting the diamond that would destroy Storybrooke. Um, we saw Maleficent's spirit, who then Hook destroyed, and we thought she was permanently dead. But nope. It looks like they're gonna find a way to bring back her spirit and her body. Yeah, don't eat donuts while you're looking at the book. I mean, to be fair, do you remember Pinocchio when he was turning into wood? The blue fairy turned him back into a real boy, but it turned him into a boy, not a man anymore. That because he wanted to spoil Tomorrow's secret about destroying magic back in season 2. We haven't seen much of him at all in season 3 or season 4 so far, so it's about time to get him back. And now even Emma's suspicious about Snow and Charming's behavior against the Queens of Darkness. A lot of suspiciality going on. Suspiciality, that's not probably a word, but whatever. Call Bell. That's funny. Thank you for keeping Belle involved, obviously. We had that happen in season 1. Remember when she took the curse from Maleficent? They're gonna trust the Queens of Darkness. That could go some south. Funny how her car says DeVille, just like her movie car. 101 Dalmatians live action happened way before the show, though. So it's not the first time we've seen a live action Cruella. For most Disney movies, yes, first time. But when live actions were not common, they did make a live action 101 Dalmatians back in the 90s. You're just arresting Cruella and Ursula for what? You don't have proof on them. Hey, it's snowing. Did you notice there's snow in the background? It's Maleficent's baby rattle. Why did they take that? Charming took the baby rattle. A real sheriff would reveal that and be like, "Oh, look what I found in their back seat. You guys are guilty as charged." He didn't want them to go to jail. Snow and Charming, wow, you're making a lot of bad decisions here. You're afraid, I mean, of course they're evil, but only us as the audience know that, and you're not giving them a fair chance to be good. They've only been in town for one day. You're gonna try to kick them out of town by stopping them from resurrecting Maleficent. Honestly, this season brings back characters we haven't seen since season 1 and season 2. Mhm. Maleficent went against your word and decided to kill the guards. Snow and Charming do not like Snow and Charming did not like what these villains are doing. Killing guards just to get to a tree of life. That is crazy. That is over evil. Snow and Charming are doing the right thing while the villains are not. Maleficent did not heed their warning. I mean, Snow and Charming's warning. She went the easier route of killing him. Emma and Hook. Emma has a superpower. She can tell if you're lying. Emma and Hook are not are not being a good couple right now. They're keeping secrets from each other. That's kind of funny. Hook has a past with Ursula, and it's probably something not good. I mean, it kind of makes sense. He's a pirate. Ursula's from the ocean. If you didn't know your Disney movies very well, it made sense. It would make sense that they're from the same fairy tale, but Peter Pan and Little Mermaid are different technically. They could have crossed paths though. They're both from the ocean. Pirate ship and water. Pirate ships go on waters. It's the only way for Emma not to find out the truth, huh? What did you guys do in the Enchanted Forest? Regina, calm down. You're about to slip to your evil ways. Regina got so upset. Whoa. Regina stepped over line. Regina stepped over line a little bit. She acted her evil ways a little bit. Mhm. Regina said harsh words. Regina, that's what causes you to step off the path. Don't you stepped out of line there. You should repent. If you want to find the author, you gotta stay on the straight and narrow. Snow and Charming, on the other hand, I don't think they're on the straight and narrow. Mhm. Sorry. I was looking at something. Beauty sleeps over. Snow and Charming already went without you. They're already way far ahead. There's the Tree of Life. It's gonna tell you. It's gonna tell you how to stop the Evil Queen's curse, apparently. We all know that doesn't happen. Whoa! Yeah, exactly. They did something evil, and you haven't figured out what that was yet. So we got some of their past with the Queens of Darkness. What else did they do? Not exactly. You got to throw that dust into the gold miner or something. Too bad the Queens of Darkness followed you down there and knocked you out. Hmm. Regina realized she stepped out of line and said really harshful, unstraight narrow words to Pinocchio. And now he's apologizing to his father. Yeah, you said shut up. That's no way to apologize. Yeah, you'll never find your happy ending if you revert to your old ways. So yes, Regina the Evil Queen is apologizing. She has come a long way. She's been trying to change for 4 seasons and she's been mostly good at it so far. She just had one slip up today. I miss August. I miss the adult version of Pokemon, Pinocchio. I get talk. It's kind of cool. We're getting cameos from season 1 and 2 characters. Pinocchio, who we haven't seen for 2 seasons, and who we haven't seen for 3 seasons physically, 2 seasons spiritually. Yeah, I think Belle's moved on, Rumple. Get over your heartbreak. They need some blood to bring back Maleficent. Wow, they didn't even know they were pregnant. That's news to them. Careful, witch. We don't want our child to be evil like you. Villains. A villain. Yes. Emma Swan, the savior, is evil. She could turn out to be evil. That's what we're just slowly discovering in this arc. And by the end of that season, by the end of this season, that's probably what's gonna happen. Just saying. Never thought you'd see a protagonist become the antagonist. Have you ever seen a movie like okay, there's movies like Frozen where you think Hans is a good guy and the plot twist is that he's the villain all along. But have you ever seen but he's just a side character, whether he was a villain or not. What if we had a movie no, I'm glad Elsa's not a villain. But what if we had a movie, let's do a different example, because Elsa was the villain in the first draft and they changed it. let's say in Beauty and the Beast, let's say Belle's the villain, and they want us to think it's Gaston, but then by the end of the movie, we find out it's Belle, and she's the main character. She's in the title of the movie. Like it's one thing to to trick the audience into thinking someone's a hero. See, there's her spirit from season two, Maleficent's spirit, and then now she's gonna turn back into a dragon from season one when Emma stabbed her. And now she's gonna be in her human form. Anyway, she was wearing a purple dress before she turned into a dragon. How did she get her black clothes back? Maleficent's back from the dead. Okay, all they had to do was put a drop of blood on her on the dust of her remains, and that caused resurrection. Okay, so if I undig a dead body from from the graveyard, and I take the remainders of their body and put blood on it, does that make them come back alive? That's a weird way to resurrect someone. Cruella and Ursula forgot how much they missed Maleficent. Man, they're probably glad they brought her back. Ha, Maleficent. The Queens of Darkness are fully back together. Yeah. You have to tell Emma everything. You're gonna tell Emma your secret. Are you sure the audience is supposed to know that right now? Yep, because they didn't ask for help and they were trying to keep this a secret. They failed at stopping Maleficent from being resurrected, and they could have stopped them if they had Emma on their side, and they should have been, and Regina. They should have been honest. Honestly, they should have been honest. Honestly, and now Hook's trying to be honest with Emma before Snowy and Charming can be honest. So yeah, Emma believes in the good in you. She's not judging you based on your past. She's judging you based on who you are now. And Seasonal and Charming are walking in, and they don't want to reveal that they're here, so they're just listening. Emma does expect the worst in people. Like, remember Lily from the Frozen arc, or the flashback of Lily, and every person that's tried to adopt her, like the Snow Queen, she's she has the ability to put the worst in people. It can happen to her parents too. She's thought of the worst of her parents in season two. It's hard to accept her as it's hard to accept them as her parents. It took her seasons to do that. But she's now trying to see the best in people, which is good. And then Hook are having a moment. Snow and Charming are just watching them. I'm on Hook caught you guys leaving, so nice try. Well, when Hook went down there, she was some mollified spirit beast. But Emma went down there and killed her as a dragon. Emma's kind of shocked that she's back. I don't know about that. Snow and Charming, you're not fully a hero. You are lying to you were gonna go tell Emma your secret, and now you just changed your mind and just call them villains. Honestly, Snow and Charming should have been honest from the start because Emma does find out their lying secret, things are gonna go downhill. And I mean downhill. Uh-huh. And just to keep you entertained, there's gonna be this will be the first time that villains will finally win. It will be. You'll see. You'll see. You know, if you're not interested in a show where good always wins, then don't worry, because we're about to get into the dark side. Mhm. Snow White won't become like Maleficent. That's good on her. But keeping secrets is what's going to cause you to become like her if you're not careful. And as the plot just thickened, Maleficent was also pregnant with a child, and Snow White was pregnant at the same time. So Maleficent has a baby somewhere, baby dragon probably. The coven, that's what you call it. So now it has a hard time of putting it into words. The truth. One time, Snow White, Regina did ask Snow White to keep a secret, and she didn't. So now Snow White's gonna tell Regina a secret. And is Regina gonna return the favor by not keeping it? I don't think so. She's come a long way. If she was still a villain, she would probably tell Emma. But Evil Queen is better than 10-year-old Snow White, and will keep Snow White's secret. So Snow and Charming don't want to tell Emma the truth because of the same reason Regina doesn't want to tell Henry all her sins. When you have a child or you marry a wife, do you want to really mention all your former sins to them or focus on the future? Hey, the author. Hey, there's a page that says author on it. Maybe that page has something to do with it. Emma is finally starting to open her heart to love, and Snow Charming secret could cause that to differ. She'll lose faith in you if you tell her the truth. Maybe we might. Well, I think keeping the secret is what's going to tumble Emma on her dark path, not you telling it. That's what the problem is here. When you betray the people you love, you get hurt. Yep. When people you love see the worst parts of you, just like the Snow Queen's shattered sight curse, you end up shattering the bonds that you forged. Maybe some relationships are fragile. Look at Belle kissing Will Scarlet from the Wonderland series. What happened to Anastasia, Will? This takes place after the series. Where's Anastasia? And Rumple's just falling apart as he's watching from a distance. Spy on your ex-wife. Like that. Okay. Shatter the bonds you once forged. It's kind of sad. Yep, the stronger the bonds once were, you can never get them back. Once you screw someone over, as Emma said, you can never get them back. It's not true, really. You could probably do it with a lot of repenting and redemption. The harder it is to repair the relationship, though, the more you do wrong. Aw, who left since sad. What happened to her baby? That was born around the same time Snow and Charming's baby was. The harder it is to put it back together. They want Regina to go undercover as the evil queen to find out what they're planning. Plot twist: Maleficent lost her child, all because of Snow White and Charming. So it wasn't just a secret that caused Regina to lose her fiance. They also lost Maleficent's child. I'm surprised Maleficent never tried the effort to get revenge on that. Honestly, Regina cast the whole curse because Snow White couldn't keep a secret, and Maleficent didn't do much compared to what Regina did. Wow, Snow and Charming made a lot of mistakes. I mean, Charming wasn't part of the secret part, but he was part of losing Maleficent's child, apparently, since it was around the same time after they were married. Anyway, so yes, something happened to Maleficent's child that they lost. It's Snow White and Charming's fault. We'll get a flashback on that in a later episode, but that's gonna be it for tonight. But yeah, we got a little bit of Snow White and Charming's evil past. This is after this is before their sinful events, but like they worked with the Queens of Darkness in the past, and they found out they weren't as pure of heart as they thought. Well, not true because in order to meet the Good Witch of the South from the Wizard of Oz, they had to be pure in heart. So they are pure in heart, I guess in some cases. No, they're not, because she killed Cora, and she killed Cora before meeting Glinda. I mean, technically Snow White was never pure in heart, but show's flaws will be the show's flaws. But anyway, it wasn't their imperfections that didn't cause them to read the Tree of Life. It was the fact that their child was being conceived as partially a villain. In the womb, because this is before she was born. Snow and Charming just found out they got pregnant, and their child has the potential for evil. Something we didn't know when Emma was born in the pilot, huh? We just thought she was the protagonist of the show, and she was the hero that would always defeat every villain that came our way in Once Upon a Time. Well, it turns out she may be the villain herself. So much for being the savior of the fairy tale world. Anyway, even Emma Swan's not perfect. The Storybrooke savior is not perfect. So I have to be careful how I say that. But anyway. So yes, an evil savior is coming, and Emma Swan will probably darken her heart. Who knows? I'm not saying much more, and it's hard not to spoil things here. But there's I've only shared probably 10%. I was pretty vague. I didn't say how Emma was going to turn evil. I didn't say um, how they were going to free the author. I didn't say how this was all going to go down. I didn't say how the villains were going to win. Obviously, it's probably with the author, right? Rewriting their happy endings, but you still don't know what that looks like. I'm not trying to spoil too much, only what's been really said. And now that they mentioned that Snow White and Charming lost Maleficent's child, I could say that without being safe around it. So anyway, we will get a flashback on how they lost Maleficent's child. I'm not going to explain that, but I'm pretty vague when it comes to spoiling. I try to not spoil much. I just try to stay on the surface and not dive in. I try to beat around the bush as much as I can. But yes, we also know that Emma's potential of great darkness. That's what we've been finding out the past couple episodes. First with the little creature with wings, and then now with the flashback of the Tree of Life. But yeah, they brought Maleficent back, and if it weren't for Snow White and Charming, if they would have just trusted Emma and been honest with her, they could have stopped them. But I think it's good we have Maleficent back. Because again, it's another character like Pinocchio that hasn't made it back in the show since season 1 and 2. Honestly, it's kind of a time capsule for us to kind of go back into the beginning to when we first started this marathon, which was 8 months ago. Time flies, guys. Soon enough, this marathon will be over before you could blink an eye. So anyway, let's enjoy it while it lasts. More episodes to come and more seasons to come. Dang it. I was going to say we're nowhere close to being done, but we're closer to being done than when we started because we're more than halfway, obviously. And so anyway, but we're not as close because it took us 8 months to get halfway. So though we're a couple weeks past halfway, a few weeks past halfway, counting the Wonderland series. Knowing that we're a few weeks past halfway, and it took 8 months to get there, we still have like 7 months left. Because I know it's been a couple weeks since we were halfway, a few weeks. So maybe 7 months left. So anyway, yes, we are closer to being done, but not as close as you think. It's still a while away because we started in April and we barely got halfway in November. And so with April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, 8 months. You got December, January, February, March, April, May. It was going to end in May, but I got sick and stuff. Our marathon got pushed to June. Originally, we were going to finish the series on May 31st. But then now that I gotten sick and I skipped a week to go to impress my date that I went on back in September, it's going to be June now. So 7 more months to go. Anyway, including December that we're in right now. So anyway, yes, we're past halfway, but we're just barely past halfway. We haven't been past halfway for a while or anything. So we're not really almost done, but mathematically we're closer to being done than we started. So anyway, we still kind of have a half a year to enjoy this show. So I look forward to next week with next week's episodes. Next week, we're going to get Regina's going to go undercover as the evil queen. She's not going to go back to being evil again. Okay? But, she's going to find out what they're up to, and she's going to pretend to be evil to figure out what's going on. So we're going to have 4 Queens of Darkness now. But Regina's not really being evil. She's pretty much being a undercover cop, right? Even though she doesn't have that career or has a police badge on, but, she has experience with being evil, so she can go undercover and see what they're up to. And then we have one of these villains. I shouldn't spoil this, so I won't. One of these villains next week is going to get a happy ending. Now, I know what you're saying. What are you talking about? Because we saw Pan die. We saw the Wicked Witch die. Now, the Snow Queen died, but that was also part of her happy ending. Pan and Wicked Witch didn't get their happy endings, but we did see the Snow Queen wanting to get her to die, to be with her sisters in heaven. So, I mean, that was you could kind of argue and say the Snow Queen got her happy ending technically, but if you don't count death as a happy ending, if you're talking about like on the earth mortality happy ending wise, all our villains just been dying off, starting with Maleficent, then Cora, right? And Regina's the only villain, and Rumple are the only villains that stayed on the show. Oh, I guess Rumple did come back from the dead, but he's the main character. He's been on the show since day one, so besides the regular series cast, putting that aside, I could take these headphones out because we're done watching Once Upon a Time for the day. But putting that aside, putting Rumple, Regina don't count because they're main characters. I'm talking about the guest starring characters that only show up for a half arc, right? Cora almost lasted a whole season though because that was before we started the half season arcs, But you know what I mean. The characters that don't stay on for the entire series, everyone's pretty much died except for, besides Rumple and Regina. Everyone's pretty much died up to this point. And now we brought Maleficent back from the dead. So anyway, so I don't know where I was going with that thought, honestly. I just lost track of what I was saying. But anyway, point being, villains are starting to come back from the dead. And the game's about to change. If you notice, it's been kind of getting repetitive with the half season arcs. We deal with a villain for 11 episodes and then they're dead and they're not on the show anymore. They're trying to change that up so it's not boring and repetitive. So I hope you can try and enjoy this part of the season. This is when most people um drop from the show because of the quality and the arcs not being as good. But the best way I can keep you engaged, hopefully, is to tease that Emma, who's never been evil before, turn evil. You want to see how that goes. And to the fact that we have multiple villains at once, Quill, Ursula, and Maleficent, because Rumple, I'm not going to count him. He's been evil almost every season at least once. Uh, besides Rumple being constantly on the show, I'm talking about the villains who are not constantly on the show. Quill, Ursula, Maleficent. We got multiple villains at once. That's new. That's different. Some of them might get their happy endings. That's what I was getting at. That's what I was gonna say. So some of them might not get. Some of them probably are finally gonna get their happy endings that don't involve death. So just stick around and find out. Now, that doesn't mean we're gonna stop killing villains from here on out. People are still gonna die and never come back. But the show tries to make a few changes to keep itself interesting, and I said from the very beginning and from the first live stream back in April, please stick with me till the end. You might lose interest after a few seasons, and we're at that point of losing interest for probably a lot of people. Please stick with me. I was what's the right word? I was so loving with the show. I stuck with it to its bitter end. And the point of this marathon is to go through the entire show. Most marathons, people might stop after season 3. But, and we are already going through most of season 4. We've already been through most of season 4. I'm not planning to stop. We're going to go through 5, 6, 7. We're going to finish the series all the way. And I'm going to be happy if you can make the effort to stay with me and stay on schedule. Even if you can't watch this live and you watch the episodes later, please keep watching till we get to the end. I hope you do it for me. I know there's other shows to watch, so if you ever get tired of Once Upon a Time, you can take a break, obviously. But catch up. Anyway, the point of this marathon was to go through nostalgia together with you guys while also introducing new people to the show. Who knows? We might get enough fandom to bring it back somehow or make a reboot. That would be cool. Haven't had the show since 8 years ago? By the time we finish this marathon, may I say 9 years ago? Wait. No, 7 years ago. It was 7 years. It was a little over 7 years ago. And by the time we finish this marathon, it will be 8. Man! Sometimes I forget how long ago this show ended. Anyway. But it's been almost 15 years since it started. Wow, that's been a long time for the pilot. And we're talking about the creators who made Lost, which, if you've seen Lost, that was a couple decades ago. So, the writers are old. Let me just tell you, old. But anyway, it's after 9:30. I'm going to shut up and stop talking now. That's going to be it for tonight. More to come next week. Some villain's going to get their happy ending. We're going to find out next week, literally. I know that's a little early because to find out how Ingrid froze her sister and how Elsa ended up in the urn took us a few weeks to find out. But there's a lot more to this plot than just freeing the author just finding past. There's more to the plot than what's leading on right now. So that's why some of these things are coming now rather than at the end of the season. So yes, because of this, we are going to find out Snow and Charming's secret. We got a little hint of it. They lost Maleficent and her child, but we're going to, show don't tell, right? They're going to show us how they lost Maleficent's child next week. We're going to get into that. But first, we're going to see Regina go undercover as the evil queen. Then after that episode, we'll get I almost spoiled there. One of the villains is going to get a happy ending in the episode leading after that. And then next week, we'll end our night with finding out Snow White and Charming's secret fully. So anyway, stay tuned for next week. And until then, God be with you till we meet again. And yes, this live stream is 2 hours and 46 minutes. Okay. I try to end around 2 hours and 40 minutes, but lately I've noticed in the past 5 live streams, we've been going 6 minutes overtime. It's just hard not to talk about the show. It seemed to be easy at first, but I guess when you get into later seasons, these are the seasons I stuck with the most. And the more I stayed with the show, the more popularity I got into it. And so maybe I just have a lot more to say the further we go down. But anyway, I'll do my best to stop talking in the future when time is up. Anyway, speaking of now, I'm gonna stop. Have a great night. God be with you till we begin. See you next week for those next 3 episodes. All right, I'm going to end Facebook first, then YouTube, but I'm going to only say bye once. So if you're on YouTube, you're going to enjoy 10 seconds of awkward silence as I end Facebook. If you're on Facebook, like just right after I say bye. So anyway, bye. See you next week.